here for Justin.
Getting excited for you today. Glad to be here.
All right, everybody ready, gang? I'm going to go ahead and call the City Council meeting of September the 6th, 2011 to order. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux.
Here.
Kenyon.
Here.
Petty.
Here.
Tennant.
Here.
Farrell.
Here.
Adams.
Here.
Lewis. Gray. Here. Mayor Jordan.
Here. Would you join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Everybody okay?
Yeah, I think I just pulled something out though.
Okay.
It's okay.
Is everything still in, or?
A little crazy down there.
Well, we probably don't need all those parts anyway.
You know, that's how the table's always kind of crazy.
You'd have a little more fun down here, I think.
Okay. Everybody good? Good. All right. The first order of business we have tonight is the second quarter financial report of 2011. Paul?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to first draw your attention, we're talking the end of the second quarter, so these are numbers through June. And I'm happy to report for the general fund sales tax was up about $300,000 at that point in time. If we look and match revenues to expenditures, we're up about $950,000 revenues over expenditures as of the end of the first quarter. One thing, of course, I should mention is we usually have 13 payrolls by the end of the second quarter, and we have only had 12. So this will be adjusted a little bit as we go. However, I think we're looking pretty clearly on track to end up with about $1 million by the end of the year if things continue through the end of the year. I would also like to point out to you, if you remember, we used almost $500,000 worth of reserves to fund this year's budget. Hopefully we won't have to dip into reserves for this year's budget because of the revenue increases. So that's something I'd like to report that looks good. Water and sewer fund, as I look at the water and sewer fund revenues, now this is through June, we're up about 2.5%, and we factored in a 2% increase, so we're about on line with revenue as of the end of June. However, due to the drought, due to the high usage of water, those revenues will be up when I come to you and talk to you at the third quarter report. So we are doing better than budget throughout the third quarter, at least the numbers I've seen on usage so far in billings. The HMR taxes, they're up about 2% over budget, over expectation, so they're doing pretty well also. Water and sewer funds about up 2% compared to where we budgeted, so our revenues look pretty solid so far this year. I'll also mention the airports revenues are up a bit compared to budget. So on the revenue side, we have been looking pretty solid through the end of the second quarter. Expense control, we've been doing pretty well. I think we're right about on track with where expectations would be on expenditures, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments? Paul or Bob?
Paul, could you by any chance put a figure to what that 2.5% up would be in the water and sewer?
Okay, give me 1 second, I could. It's about $600,000.
Okay, thank you.
Now again, that's on line with budget right now. However, we will have strong revenues coming in as we look to July and August, where we had a heavy drought season.
Yeah, it's been awfully dry.
Yep. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Thank you, Paul. The second thing we have is Off-Street Parking Improvement District Number 1 appointment. John Burrows has that, I believe. Good evening, John.
Good evening,
you all. I'm John Burrow. I'm the General Legal Counsel for the Off-Street Parking Improvement District Board. Mr. Greg Lee has petitioned you for to be appointed to the board. You're actually filling a vacancy caused by the resignation of one of our board members. We're a tiny little geographic little area right in downtown Fayetteville, and it's a requirement that it be a property owner, which Mr. Lee is. And we're also extremely happy that he's an eminently qualified individual.
Any questions for John on this? We don't need any approval or anything like that, do we, on this?
Yes. I would move approval, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the appointment of the Off-Street Parking Improvement District. Sonia, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Okay, the next thing we have, thank you, John. Next thing we have is agenda additions, none on consent. Well, that should take us a while. Number one, approval of the August 16, 2011 City Council meeting minutes. Number two, amend resolution number 04-11, resolution amending resolution number 04-11, awarding bid number 11-03 and authorizing the purchase of curb and gutter construction from Ground Zero Construction as a primary supplier, Thompson Asphalt Company Incorporated as a secondary supplier, and authorizing subsequent use of other bidders based on price and availability in variable amounts as needed in calendar year 2011 by the Transportation Division. Number three, amend resolution number 70-11, resolution amending resolution number 70-11, awarding bid number 11-22 and authorizing a contract with Multicraft Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $71,794.55 plus a 10% contingency for HVAC and repair services related to energy efficiency and conservation block grant funded community revolving loan fund projects. Number four, bid number 11-45, Sherlock Industries of Fayetteville Incorporated, resolution awarding bid number 11-45 and approving a contract with Sherlock Industries of Fayetteville Incorporated in the amount of $115,290.98 for the purchase of a precast box culvert sections for installation on the University of Arkansas Farm Trail and approving a 5% project contingency. Number five, bid number 11-48, Southwest Fence Company Incorporated, resolution awarding bid number 11-48 and approving a contract with Southwest Fence Company Incorporated of Little Rock in the amount of $55,564.07 for the installation of fencing along the University of Arkansas Farm Trail and approving a 15% project contingency. Number six, Dean Street right-of-way donation, a resolution authorizing donation of right-of-way along Dean Street containing a total of 0.04 acres and being a part of the parcel number 765-05204-001 to the Arkansas State Highway Commission as part of their Garland Avenue Improvement Project. Number seven, FTN Associates Ltd., a resolution approving a professional services contract with FTN Associates Ltd. in the amount of $200,100 for the updating of the city's drainage criteria manual. Number eight, Arkansas State Highway Commission, a resolution authorizing sale and donation of right-of-way and 4 temporary construction easements to the Arkansas State Highway Commission to facilitate widening of State Highway 265 between Joyce Boulevard and northern city limits. Number 9, CH2M Hill, resolution approving an out-of-scope agreement with CH2M Hill in the amount of $14,929.45 for operational expenses incurred in the direct result of the 2011 spring flooding and approving a budget adjustment. Number 10, bid number 11-50, Goodman & Goodman Incorporated, a resolution awarding bid number 11-50 and approving a contract with Goodman & Goodman Incorporated in the amount of $119,250 for the construction of a natural gas service line to the biosolids facility and approving a 5% project contingency. Number 11, bid number 11-53, RJR Enterprises Incorporated. Resolution awarding bid number 11-53 and approving a contract with RJR Enterprises Incorporated in the amount of $33,300 plus a 10% project contingency for playground resurfacing at Gully Park. Number 12, Environmental Protection Agency, Resolution approving a budget adjustment in the amount of $8,000 to recognize revenue from the Environmental Protection Agency to the Police Department for a clandestine drug lab cleanup and disposal. Number 13, airport hangar insurance proceeds. Resolution approving a budget adjustment in the amount of $300,000 to pay down a loan from the general fund from insurance proceeds received from the airport hangar fire in 2009. Number 14, First Security Bank, a resolution approving a five-year professional services contract with First Security Bank for the provision of investment management services. Number 15, Arkansas State Highway Department, a resolution approving a budget adjustment in the amount of $22,329 to recognize revenue from the Arkansas State Highway and Transportation Department for replacement of a fence, sign, and trees due to the widening of State Highway 16 near the city shop area. Number 16, the Cove Subdivision Phase 1. Resolution pursuant to the Federal Code 167.04J2 and 167.04J3 and approving a tree preservation plan for the Cove Subdivision 1 for tree preservation outside city limits. Number 17, Southwind Hospitality LLC, a resolution to approve a one-year lease with Southwind Hospitality LLC for the bottom level of the Meadows Street parking deck for $4,450 per month, and 2 7-year automatic renewals for the first and third floors for $8,900 per month. Number 18, Federal Chamber of Commerce, resolution approving a two-year economic development services contract with the Federal Chamber of Commerce in a total amount of $299,000 and approving a budget adjustment. Number 19, 2011 Assistance of Firefighters Grant, a resolution authorizing application for an acceptance of a 2011 Assistance to Firefighters matching grant in the amount of up to $800,000 with a 20% city match in the amount of $160,000. I will accept the consent agenda as read.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as read. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Hetty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Gray,
Okay, under unfinished business, we have none. C, new business. Number 1, ADM 11-3627, public art donation resolution to accept the donation of a bronze sculpture entitled Cloud Landscape by Hank Kaminsky and to thank the Omni Center for Peace, Justice, and Ecology for this donation. Leif?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Leif Olson, Sustainability and Strategic Planning. This item is a sculpture donation by the Omni Center for Peace, or for Justice, Peace, and Ecology. It would be located in the World Peace Wetland Prairie Park. It's created by local sculptor Hank Kaminsky, and the item was unanimously approved by the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and the Fayetteville Arts Council with recommendations for approval. I noticed that Hank is in the audience, so I'll have Hank come up, and if you have any questions, Hank can probably answer them, or I can come back.
Come on up, Hank. Thank you very much, first of all.
And thank you, Mayor and Council. I appreciate your willingness to accept this, another piece of my sculpture in the city. I'd like to describe it. It is a segment of the Peace Prayer Fountain, but it was a segment that was never intended to go in place anywhere. It was laying around my shop as a test item. I used it to test the system. I'd never cast a sculpture as big as the Peace Prayer Fountain. So I had to have some way to figure out how to do that. And I built this sculpture. I was intending to cut it up and put it back in the crucible and use it for another piece when a member of the Omni Center for Peace, Justice, and Ecology approached me and said, "Ooh, I like that." And I said, "Well, I like it too." And she said, where can we put it in someplace? Can we set it up somewhere? And I said, "Yeah, I bet we can." And here I am. I'm about to set it up.
Well, thank you very much, Hank.
My pleasure.
Very generous of you.
Is there any questions whatsoever about the sculpture? I do hope that once it's installed, you all get the chance to go down and see it.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you, Hank,
Thank
very
you.
much. Any other public comment on this?
Hi, my name is Lauren Hawkins, and
I'm a member of the Board of Directors of Omni Center for Peace, Justice, and Ecology, and I really appreciate you accepting this donation. We're real excited about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? See, now I'll bring it back to the council. We need a motion and a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the resolution of the donation of the bronze sculpture entitled Cloud Landscape. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Okay, thank you all very much. Number 2, revised ward boundaries. A resolution to approve revised ward boundaries to equalize ward populations after 2010 federal census. John?
I'm John Goddard, GIS coordinator for the city. We, as a result of the returns on the 2010 census, there's a requirement for us to once again balance the population of our wards. I've handed out some maps to you that show the proposed and recommended boundaries for our ward boundaries. It offers a fairly good balance between all the wards. There's an adjustment to all the wards. Let me get this started, and I'll talk from that mic. Here is our current ward boundaries shown in a yellow highlighted line. The dark highlighted boundaries here are where all the changes are occurring in our ward boundaries. The largest geographic area is right here, and all of this area here is moving over to Ward 4. There's a small geographic area north of Martin Luther King and Archibald Yell that would be moving into Ward 2. And then right here is that's Mission Boulevard. So there's an area south of Mission Boulevard, and the neighborhoods down south of there. There's no, well, okay, I think that's called Rockwood there. It comes up to about this point. All of this neighborhood would be moving to Ward 3. And these areas up in here have no population in them whatsoever. It's more of a bookkeeping thing this was actually in Ward 4 at one time. We're moving that to Ward 2, and then there's a small segment here that would move to Ward 2. Let me move this slide. The large geographic area is, bound. This is the area that's moving into Ward 1. Fairly large area, but as you see, there's a lot of open space here, so it's not huge populations, but given the geographic area. Then here is the area north of Martin Luther King and Archibald Yell that would be moving into Ward 2. And here's a close-up of the area south of Mission and north of Rockwood and west of Crossover. And here is the geographic area on the north end of town the mall is right over here. That would be moving into Ward 2. I don't know if you have any questions about the redistricting.
Okay. What questions do we have for John? Ms. Brenda?
Oh, I have no questions.
Oh, okay, sorry. You look like you had a question. I'm sorry.
I just want to make comments. I
Sure.
feel like everything I see in Ward 1 looks good, and you've kind of cleaned up that line above Archway Yale, which has always been a little confusing. That's always, kind of been the downtown area, so I think that's good. And I think you've done a fantastic job of
Okay.
getting this worked out in a way that keeps all the existing aldermen in their wards now, and also makes the changes needed to adjust to the population changes, or growth, largely in Ward 4. So I think you've done a great job.
Okay.
Thank you. Who else? Anybody? Well, yes, Bob.
Does this become effective after we vote on it?
Well, I suppose you would decide on when.
Yes, it becomes effective for the next election. So it'd be immediately effective. If there would be a special election, it'd be effective right then. But it's effective as soon as you all pass it tonight.
Or if we passed it tonight.
If you do. Public comment? Come on up, John.
Here I am, another capacity. I'm John Burrow. I'm the chairman of the Washington County Election Commission, and we worked extensively with John and Karen Pritchard of the county clerk's office especially so. And we're extremely happy with this map. Unlike some other lines that have been drawn that we're going to have to cope with, these are wonderful, clean lines that are going to be very easy for us to work with, particularly with respect to voters knowing where they're supposed to, who they're voting for and where they're supposed to vote. And that's going to make life a lot easier for us, and we're very grateful to John for the spirit and the effort he brought to this thing. It's a wonderful example of intergovernmental partnership. So we're very much in favor of this map.
Thank you, John. Anybody else? Come up, Aubrey.
Would you clarify the little anvil? Is that coming toward one?
That's coming toward. Okay.
Or
Are you talking about
that
this?
right there? That was Ward 1. It's going to 2.
Okay. Well, let's see. There's a. If you look at this table here, Ward 3 has our lowest population.
Right.
So Ward 3 is essentially overrepresented. So there needs to be a balance there.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Okay. So Ward 2 is also underrepresented. I can hear myself.
I don't know, John, that came out just exactly right. But go ahead.
I think that's all that matters to us.
Anyway, it's all about, shifting populations. Some require.
Is that little animal coming to Ward 1 or?
It's going to, I'm sorry, yeah, it's coming to Ward 2. It was,
So
it was in Ward 1.
Okay.
So.
Okay, well, I see nothing to comment on except hope it goes up on the internet fast so we can learn. And same thing with that stormwater, whatever study that was done or update for the engineering and so forth. I'd like to see that online. And was it done, or was it? Are we setting the money to pay for it, or is it already in the books?
Chairman.
It's just a contract to begin this.
To begin it. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want this? I've got another one. Don't be aggravating anybody now.
And Mr. Mayor, I might note
Yes.
Aubrey's question. It actually is online right now as part of the agenda packet, so it's online, assuming it will be passed tonight.
Okay, any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council. What y'all want to do?
I move we pass the resolution. Second.
Well, there you go. Well, motion and second to pass the resolution of the new ward boundaries. Any final okay.
Well, I mean, I think everyone's in agreement, but, I mean, you're saying pass this tonight?
Well, I think that was the motion, am I wrong?
It was the motion, and I'm not sure if I support that.
Okay.
I mean, I mean, is there a rush on this?
No rush.
I mean, I think everyone's real happy with it, but, no one sees any reason to wait about it? Let the public look at it a little more? Or
Well, we can,
I mean, I'm just throwing this out as a question. I just assumed we would probably, but if everyone thinks it's fine, and, you know, I certainly.
Honestly, I don't see a reason to wait. I've heard nothing from any constituents.
But they probably haven't had a chance to see it yet.
I don't know if anyone else has, but it's been discussed in a few venues online, and at the last agenda session. Certainly, if the rest of the council wishes to wait, we can wait.
Okay, Rhonda.
I kind of think Brenda has a point, and I would support that. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see citizens have a couple of weeks to email us, or I totally support it and think it's great and really appreciate the hard work and all. But what would it hurt to wait 2 weeks?
That's
and let us get some.
I'll withdraw the motion and move we table it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
I'd second that.
Bobby.
I was just gonna say, does it make any difference if we read it twice tonight and say one reading?
It does. It makes me no
It's a
difference.
resolution.
Yeah.
It's a resolution. Yeah.
Doesn't make me any difference. Whatever you want to do. You want to hold 2 weeks? Be fine.
I'd be good with that.
Okay.
Mayor, can I just make one comment, and just for the council to consider, and that is that we have a special election coming up. It's not ward-based, but on the 11th of October. And as much time as you have to educate people about new boundaries and to use this time period, there are also benefits to getting the information resolved quickly. So it's just something I want you to think of as a point of this discussion.
Well, that's why I asked if there was an urgency. If there is, you know.
Could I,
Sure.
Mr. Burrow, are there any cost savings involved with changing these ward boundaries before the election, or any other benefits you see to doing this before the election?
I'm sorry, could you say it again, please?
Do you see any benefits as the chairman of the election commission to changing these ward boundaries before the October 11th election?
Oh, no, it won't affect that election, and doesn't actually come into effect for any electoral purposes until your next election cycle. And we will be we can't complete all of our processes until after the statewide special election in November anyway. So, no, the answer to your question is no.
Okay, thanks. I'll stick with the motion to table it for 2 weeks then.
All right, we have a motion and second to table for 2 weeks. Any other comment on that? Public, all right. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell, Adams,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
And Mayor,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
apologize, but we did have an agenda addition that we needed to add. If the council sees fit, we'd like to add that at the end of new business, since we kind of missed it, and I apologize for that. I should have pointed that out. But it is an amendment to Resolution 9911, and all it is changing the beginning of the contract lease by a few days.
Okay.
So does someone need to move to add it?
Second.
We have a motion and second to add. Brendan, is that your motion?
Yes, you need to suspend the rules to add it to the agenda.
Suspend the rules and add this to the agenda.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I just say something to John before we leave?
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, now you can say something.
Hey, John, I'd just like to take a second, and you and your staff and everybody that was involved in making the map, and to me, it looks extremely fair. It looks logical. It looks contiguous where you can be. So, give a shout out to everybody that was involved in that, please.
Well done. Okay, we have a.
See you in 2 weeks.
I'll get everybody straightened out here just in a moment.
Well, thank you again in 2 weeks.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to add a lease agreement with Friendship Community Care Incorporated on 2.2 acres located on Huntsville Road, south of the current Severn Hills Transition Housing Facility, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Chandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Number 3, vacation 11-3887, 2388 North College Avenue, come and go. An ordinance approving vacation 11-3887 submitted by CEI Engineering Associates Incorporated, property located at 2388 North College Avenue to vacate a portion of a utility easement, a total of 1,158 square feet. Kit?
Whereas the City Council has the authority under ACA 1454-104 to vacate public grounds or portions thereof which are not required for corporate purposes. And whereas the City Council has determined that the following described portion of the platted utility easement is not required for corporate purposes. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby vacates and abandons the following described utility easement as shown in Exhibit B attached. Section 2, that a copy of this ordinance duly certified by the city clerk, along with a map attached and labeled Exhibit A, shall be filed in the office of Recorder of the county and recorded in the deed records of the county. Section 3, that this vacation approval is subject to the condition of approval and shall not be in effect until the condition is met herein, that any damage or relocation of existing utilities shall be at the owner-developer's expense.
Jeremy?
In November of 2010, Planning Commission approved a large-scale development for the Come and Go convenience store and gas station at Township and College, which is now in operation. As part of that building permit prior to it, Utilities Department required dedication of a 15-foot sewer easement along the southern property line for an existing sewer line. The engineers actually dedicated 20 feet more, 55 more feet than they needed. Shortly after the site construction began, city inspectors identified a conflict with that easement and the underground gas tanks that were put in place on the southern part of that boundary. And so 5 feet of that is now being requested. Had it been at the 15 original feet, it would have been fine. But this request, the Planning Commission also voted favorably, is to vacate that 5-foot portion of the easement.
I was just gonna say, Mayor, if you get public comment, I would move we suspend the rules and go to the next reading.
Second. All right, let me get some public comment if there is any. Any public comment on this? Bring it back to council. We have a motion and a second to go to the second reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux?
Yes.
Kenyon?
Yes.
Petty?
Yes.
Tenet?
Yes.
Farrell?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
An ordinance approving VAC 11-3887 submitted by CEI Engineering Associates Incorporated for property located at 2388 North College Avenue to vacate a portion of a utility easement, a total of 1,158 square feet.
Move we suspend the rules and pass the ordinance, Mayor.
We have a motion and a second to go to the third reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux?
Yes.
Kenyon?
Yes.
Petty?
Yes.
Tenet?
Yes.
Farrell?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Gray?
Adele.
Gray?
Yes.
There we go.
An ordinance approving VAC 11-3887 submitted by CEI Engineering Associates Incorporated for property located at 2388 North College Avenue to vacate a portion of a utility easement, a total of 1,158 square feet.
Any final comments from the council on this?
I'll just say that Bobby and I have both been in that business, and it's a great addition to North College. It makes that corner look really, really good. They do a great job. We're happy they're there.
Had a lot of comments on that too.
Yeah.
Anything else? Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux?
Yes.
Kenyon?
Yes.
Petty?
Yes.
Tenet?
Yes.
Farrell?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Number 4, amend 51.137 monthly sewer rates and ordinance amending section 51.137 monthly sewer rates of the Code of Federal by reducing certain extra strength surcharges to sewer rates and providing for an effective date. Kit?
Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby amends Section 51.137 monthly sewer rates of the Code of Fayetteville by deleting the table in subsection E1 and replacing it with the following table. Table F3, extra strength surcharges. Extra strength, BOD, subsection 5, after December 1st, 2011, it is $0.3145 per pound. Then extra strength TSS, after December 1st of 2011 will be $0.2209 per pound. Section 2, that this ordinance shall not become effective until December 1st, 2011.
David?
When we split the two wastewater treatment plants, the Nolan plant had been operating at 100% plus of capacity. So certain components of the cost of doing business there were much higher when we did our initial rate study in 2008 and before we split the plants. When we split the plants, some components of that cost went down. All of our industrial use is in the Nolan wastewater treatment plant area. So after we split the plants, we were approached by the industries in normal meetings we had with them, and they asked if we would reevaluate those costs and then evaluate the surcharges associated with the cost. We then did that, and we determined that the surcharge for the BOD was actually higher than the actual, or the cost for the BOD treatment was actually higher than what our current surcharge rate was established at that time. So we are proposing to change the surcharge to reflect the actual cost of doing business for treating that excess BOD.
Questions for David on this? Any comments? Any public comment on this? Bring it back to the council. And so.
Move. We've got to do.
Second.
Yes, David.
I apologize. There is.
Okay.
The sewer codes, I'm sorry, I missed this. The sewer codes are very, very specific in how you pass any change to sewer rates. And so we have to have the first reading first. We have to announce tonight that we are having a public hearing 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay.
Tomorrow we'll have an advertisement in the newspaper. And then on September 20th in 2 weeks, we'll have the second reading. At that time, we also have the discretion of having the third reading of the ordinance and adopting the revised ordinance. We can do that on either the September 20th meeting or October 4th meeting, but it's a very specific process. Meeting tonight, announce public hearing. In the next meeting, we have to have a public hearing as part of the meeting.
Okay, so you tell us we can't pass it tonight?
We cannot pass this tonight.
Okay, so we'll just hold it right here then. Thank you, David. All right, number 5, amend 174.03, exemptions of the sign chapter. An ordinance to amend 174.03, exemptions of the sign chapter to permit cross-street banners on Block Avenue similar to Dixon Street. Yep.
Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby amend Section 17403J3B by repealing it in its entirety and enacting a replacement Section 17403J3B as follows, subsection B, in order to notify or invite the public to attend a public festival or event within the downtown master plan area or the University of Arkansas campus sponsored by the nonprofit organization or government entity. That organization may pay the cost of the city to install 1, 2, or 3 cross-street public event banners with no advertising or commercial logos at one or more city-authorized sites, intersections of Dixon and Block, Dixon and Arkansas, and on Block between Dixon and Meadow for no more than 14 days once a year. When more than one nonprofit organization or government entity would qualify and timely request to pay for the installation of cross-street banners during the same period, the number of cross-street banners for each organization may be reduced to 1, and or the length of display may be shortened to 1 week so that each qualified applicant is treated equally.
Matthew?
This came from a request from Hannah Withers, who organized the Block Street Block Party, and she's the owner of the Little Bread Company. Whenever the downtown master plan was passed several years ago, as Kit just read, it allowed for cross-street banners to be installed on Dixon Street, but it didn't allow them anywhere else, and so this is just an update to the relevant ordinances that would allow similar banners on Block Avenue. It retains all the original restrictions that the sign ordinance had on the cross-street banners for Dixon, so everything should be fair, and hopefully this will help some of the events that are going to be happening down there over the coming years be successful.
Any comments, questions from council on this?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something, Mayor?
Yes, you may.
On East Street, I get my hair cut there. There's cleaners there. There's a couple of other small businesses that sometimes I go in. And when this thing first started, I heard people talking about it.
And me too.
And as far as jettison taking off, I don't think I've ever seen a festival or something like this to blow like as hard as it did this first time. And I think it's just going to grow.
I do too. It was great.
Good ordinance, Matthew.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this? Seeing none, I will bring it back to the council.
I move we suspend the rules to go to the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go to the second reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
An ordinance to amend section 17403 exemptions of the sign chapter to permit cross-street banners on Block Avenue similar to Dixon Street.
Move we suspend the rules and go to the third and final.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go to the third and final reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
An ordinance to amend section 17403 exemptions of the signs chapter to permit cross-street banners on Block Avenue similar to Dixon Street.
Any final comments from the council on this? Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell,
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Okay, the last order of business that we have is the addition, the resolution, reads a resolution to approve a slightly amended lease with Friendship Community Care Incorporated for 2.2 acres of the city property required by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Mr. Mayor, Yolanda Fields received information from the federal people that said that they wanted the lease to begin, even though Friendship had already signed a lease beginning on July 1st, the federal housing and urban development representatives indicated they wanted the lease to begin actually when it was first approved by the city council, which was June 21st, I think. And so they wanted it to be amended that way. And they also wanted us to put $1 in.
Okay.
Even though the true consideration is obviously not $1 a year, which is nothing, but it's in fact all the services that this group will in fact provide to our citizens for if we allow them to use this facility. But I don't want to argue with the federal government, and so we put $1 in as they requested, and so now I think we have complied with their request, and we need to get this passed tonight, and that's why it had to be put on the agenda. We need to get back to them very quickly to make sure that the grant that Friendship Community Care is trying to get will be approved.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to pass the resolution. Any comments from y'all? Okay, Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tennant,
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Do we have any further business, any announcements, or, well, here comes the chief. Hello, Chief Dave Ranger, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate this opportunity to make this announcement. On Sunday, September 11th, the city will commemorate the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 tragedy. At around 7:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, members of the Fayetteville Fire Department and city staff will have a procession from Fire Station Number 1 downtown to the Town Center Plaza. At 8:03 a.m., which is 9:03 a.m. Eastern Time, a bell will be rung to honor the 343 firefighters lost during those events 10 years ago, followed by a proclamation to be read by the mayor declaring a moment of remembrance for the 2,974 lives lost that day. And members of the council and the public are invited to join us and attend Sunday morning.
Thank you, Chief, very much. It's an important event. Also, I would like to make another announcement. The school board and the city council will be meeting on Thursday night. What time is that, Don? 5:30?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, 5:30 to 7:30. And I would like as many of you that y'all that can attend that meeting to attend, please. I don't usually push any for y'all to attend a lot of these meetings, but I would like as many of y'all can be there to be there. What's the location? Is it?
The library walker.
Yep.
Community room.
Yeah, community room. So if y'all can make that, I really appreciate it.
And Mayor, I have copies of the agenda for the council. I
Okay.
emailed them, but didn't know if you'd be able to check your email before then. So if you would like a copy of the agenda. And they are trying to get a head count of how many people from the council will be there because they would like to make name badges
Right.
or, so if you can let me know if you plan on attending, some of you have, some of you have not.
And we do want to be clear that this was a meeting requested by the school board,
Yes.
not organized by the city. So that's the other reason we think it's important that in their request of a meeting with you as elected officials, that it's important that you be there if you can.
Okay. Thank you all. Anything else? We are adjourned.
Well, mine wasn't working now. Now it's not working.
It's always something.
City council, what is this, I mean, what is the purpose of this meeting?
Feel good.
Oh, yeah, but we had all, that was back when we were talking about where to locate the building.